This post has a trigger warning for more than assault. If you are triggered by that, please don't watch and go to the second story. Thank you. What can I do to better support my 28 male wife, 27, after she was assaulted by my cousin, 37 male? And how do I get my family to realize how bad the situation is? Hey, I've never used Reddit, and I honestly feel a little guilty for doing so. But I'm thinking, because of how anonymous this is, that it could definitely help me and my girlfriend a lot in this situation. Thank you, TikTok, for introducing me to this subreddit. For some context, me and my wife, who I'm just gonna call Wifey, have been together for a decade now. We met very cliche when she walked into the wrong class and sat beside me. Not really related to the story at all, but it's my favorite thing ever. So, 3 weeks ago, I was at my sister's 30 house to help her with her parenting. I've done this every Wednesday evening since her husband passed away because it's nice to give her some time off. Anyway, what I didn't know is that the majority of my family were at her place, along with Wifey, who usually tags along on these evenings anyways, because my nieces adore her. My cousin, 37 male, was there too with my aunt, 59, and uncle, 59, along with my parents and grandparents. The evening was going fine and nothing seemed off. It was kind of like an impromptu family gathering. Now, Wifey suffers with chronic migraines, so midway through the evening, it got a little too much for her, and she decided to go home. No problem. She catches a taxi home. I had wanted to go home with her, but she pushed me to stay and help clean up. The first people to leave are my aunt and uncle. And an hour afterward, my cousin says he needs to leave because his wife both needed help with their own kids. I don't get home until past midnight, and wife's asleep, so I naturally also just go to sleep and give her a cuddle. In the morning, she wakes up and is reasonably angry when she gets upset at me for coming into her when I got home last night knowing her head was sore and that she just wanted to sleep. This confuses me because the second I got in, I crashed in bed. So I press her on it, and she says she very sleepily remembers that I came home maybe 2 or 3 hours after her and had sex with her before kissing her forehead and leaving. I tell her that I didn't do anything to her last night, and she gets angrier, so we have a bit of an argument. But I'm doubting myself and thinking maybe I did come on to her and just didn't remember it. So I check the cameras we have around the house, which we installed a while back after a break-in attempt. My cousin uses the spare key to get into our house. My cousin. Of course, I don't tell Wifey this because I'm panicking and stuff. So I check the camera we have in the bedroom, and oh my god, I watched my cousin assault my half-conscious wife. I don't show Wifey the clip, but I send it to my phone and save it. The first thing I do is comfort my baby, obviously, because she's a mess, and I get her parents over along with my own because I'm honestly scared I might injure my cousin at this point. My mom texts her sister, cousin's mom, and tells her what's happened whilst Wifey, me, and her mom go to the police. Now, there's a case opened, and I have to hand over the security footage of my cousin along with the pajamas my wife was wearing and the bedsheets. The case is still being investigated. My family are split and Wifey's a mess. She hasn't been eating or sleeping much at all, and all she seems to be able to do is cry in my arms and apologize for cheating. I've reassured her as best as I can that she hasn't cheated at all, and that what happened was disgusting. But she keeps saying that she was awake and should have known better. She was in chronic pain with her migraine and half asleep. I need to know, other than the therapy I've already sorted out, any ways in which I can be more there for her and support her? I've also got my self-therapy because I'm not sure seeing my wife being assaulted by my cousin is the best thing for my mental health. I think I might be in some sort of shock. Honestly. Anyway, my aunt and uncle maintain that my wife cheated on me with my cousin and that she was just looking for an out. But my cousin's wife has already split from him. She did the second she found out about what he did to my wife and isn't letting him see their kids. My aunt and uncle are telling everyone that their precious baby boy would never do such a thing, and that my wife's a cheating, lying whore, and it's really getting to her. Obviously, getting my aunt and uncle to see sense is not my top priority. Getting my wife justice and comforting her is. How do I help Wifey in this situation? And how do I get my aunt and uncle to see how horribly what their son did to her is? Also, if anyone has any idea how the legal process could go, it'd really help because I've never had to deal with anything like this before and would like to be as prepared as possible. Sorry for the long post. I'm not even sure it makes sense. And now for some comments. If this is real, holy crap, dude. This is above Reddit's pay grade. You and your wife need to consult with licensed therapists to help you move forward. Forget about your family for a moment and focus on supporting your wife. When she's ready, ask her how she would like to proceed. See if she would be okay with showing your family the video so that they understand she was R-word. Edit. Oh, and change your locks. OP replied, I have changed my locks. Admittedly, I was a little slow to do that because my head definitely wasn't thinking that far. I'm definitely going to look for therapists who specialize in SA cases too. I just want the best for my wife. Commenter. First of all, it's good that this is with the police. That's a hell of a family drama. Wifey needs therapy ASAP. You need to assure her that it's not cheating. It's actually the R word and not cheating. Your cousin used the spare key to enter the apartment. That's so freaked up. Screw your uncle and aunt for being so blind and stupid. I hope you and your wife sail through this together. Last commenter. This is so sad. I've never used such a number of swear words on Reddit. OP replied, It's just so heartbreaking to me that anyone could do that to my wife. She's the sweetest, most loving woman ever, and right now she's scared that I'd be mad that she cheated. It's so difficult to proceed with anything whilst I'm not thinking rationally. Commenter. So, first thing, stop saying the word assaulted. Your cousin R, word, your wife. Use this word when talking to family about it. Don't beat around the bush. Call a spade a spade. He's more than an assaulter. Go full no contact with your aunt and uncle and block them everywhere. Keep your wife far away from them and anyone who is talking about what they're saying or doing. Talk to your mom about it. That your wife needs to be protected from aunt and uncle. Be sure to inform everyone you know that there is an open police investigation into your cousin because he R-worded your wife, and there is video evidence to prove it. Obviously, don't share the video. Your wife needs a therapist immediately. You do too. Be gentle with yourself. Change all the locks right now. I'm so sorry this happened to the both of you. I broke up with my boyfriend of 10 years today because he didn't get me anything for my birthday. How can we talk about this? For some context, me, 27 female, and my boyfriend, 34 male, we'll call him Joe, have been together for a little over 10 years. We were supposed to be getting engaged a couple of years ago, but it kept getting pushed back due to personal reasons on his part. I work, and Joe does not, but he receives money from the government. He gets about 1,100 euros a month, and I make a little over 2,000. Me and Joe have both been saving for the past 10 years to get married and start a family. This is a long one, so I'm sorry in advance. Joe's biggest hobby is gaming and collecting limited editions of games, statues, and everything else like that. I would say in the past 10 years that I have been with him, he has spent well over 40,000 euros on games and collectibles. He had this hobby when I met him, and I never tried to change that. I was a little concerned about what the future would look like, but Joe promised me that when it was time to have kids and get married, he would sell everything except for a few things he really wanted to keep. I had no reason to doubt him. But in the last 4 years, things have gotten really bad. Joe has a really big spending addiction, and in the last 4 years has spent about 15,000 euros on his hobby. This year alone, he has spent close to 5,000 euros. Every time I mention the wedding or finally starting a family, I've been ready for years. He always says he wants us to be more financially stable. The problem is, he's blowing through his savings and is not slowing down. He keeps promising me after every big purchase that he will stop, and this is the last time, and he doesn't need anything else. But then a few weeks, a month later, he buys something else really expensive. These last 2 months, he's spent about 3,000 euros. I've tried talking to him so many times and telling him how I feel and my worries. He tells me I'm completely right and it will stop. 3 weeks ago, he bought a limited edition PlayStation that was 1,100 euros, 4 limited controllers that were 350 euros. 2 weeks later, an Xbox Series X that was 333 euros. And last night, he came home with an 1,800 euros TV that I knew nothing about until after. We got into a huge fight, and I demanded that he take it back to the store to get his money back, or I was finally done because he keeps breaking his promise to me. He told me he was not taking it back, and if I wanted to leave, then I should just leave. Today is my birthday, and I have not heard from him. No happy birthday message at midnight that I would normally receive when we're apart. And he told me he didn't get me any gifts because he couldn't find anything. I cried myself to sleep, and I spent the whole day in bed. My heart is broken. I feel like I've wasted the last 10 years on someone that was never really serious. He's proven to me I will never be his number one priority. We're supposed to be starting a family, and I feel that he's throwing it all away. I don't have time to waste anymore. I don't know if I'm making a mistake by leaving, but I've never been so unhappy and things don't seem to be changing. I don't know if I'm overly emotional because he didn't get me anything for my birthday, or because he's constantly lying. Any advice is welcome, even if it's negative towards me. I need other people's perspectives. Thank you. Now for some comments. First commenter. Systematically, he has not invested in you or your future together, and he has no plans to. This isn't about your birthday. This is about far more than that. He told you he wouldn't return his purchase and told you to go ahead and leave. Between you and the purchase, he chose the purchase. That's all you need to know. I know it feels like throwing 10 years away, but that doesn't mean you should throw away one single more day with this guy. Second commenter. The last 10 years are gone, regardless. The next 10 years are wide open, though, OP. You don't have to waste the next 10 just because the last 10 didn't turn out quite how you'd hoped. The best thing to do when you find yourself in a hole is stop digging. Not shrug and go, well, I'm already down this far. Last commenter. She's also 27. She's established in a good job and has savings. She's at the age where young men are getting more interested in finding a life partner and settling down. This is the perfect age for her to move on and date other men and to find a good one. There is absolutely no reason to settle for an unfit one. My 34 male final divorce hearing is approaching. My ex 32 female is begging to fix things after almost 2 years, but I'm nearly 6 months into a new relationship. What to do? Hey friends, I'll try to keep this as brief as possible. It will be hard. My ex asked me for a divorce late 2022. We had been married 10 years together, a couple longer than that. I won't go into the details of how we got there. She wasn't happy for a good period of time, and I was in a depressed state. Both of us actually were longer standing, and things deteriorated more than normal that fall. She posted a very revealing picture on Instagram. I didn't have an Instagram when it was posted. And upon making one and adding her, I saw it and blew up late 2022. She was embarrassed and made her feel bad, and that paired with things already not being great, she asked for a divorce. I tried talking her out of it, and she eventually decided she would be willing to do a 1-year break living apart and trying to fix things. I kept pushing for us to stay living together and to fix things. Something we both always said we would try, and eventually things would roll back to how they were. Set in routines because of where we lived. I asked if we could move and work on things. She didn't want to. I begged. She made it clear it wasn't an option. I historically have been very vocal that I didn't believe in breaks and paired with some other small potential breaks in trust during this month-long decision process. I said I couldn't do a break. Statistically, they don't work. And if things were going to end, at least if we ended things, we could still be on good terms. And if things fell apart during a break, there's a good chance that wouldn't be possible. She also had decided to move an hour away. So we decided to separate and divorce. We have 2 older animals and promised to share them, and we would alternate commuting to each other for this purpose. Initially, it was more than that. We stayed over with each other and spent time together too. For the first 5 to 6 months, I offered several times to let me pay to break one of our leases to allow us to live together and work it out. She never wanted to take me up on it. After the initial 5 to 6 months of that, I gave up on it, and we slowly changed how we did things. No more I love you. At least significantly less frequent. Eventually, we stopped staying over, and it was just time with the animals and occasionally going to random stores. Down to mostly time with the animals. During this, she'd bring up trying to work things out, and with us both working a lot, and it only leaving portions of the weekends and being an hour apart, I never thought it was a good idea. And I was trying to heal. I know this whole scenario was a bad idea. Time apart was what should have happened from the start, but at the time I thought it would keep us on good terms and friends. Starting in 2024, the time together was an hour or two one day a week to sit and have coffee with the animals. She had moved back in with her parents about 20 minutes away to save money. During one of these, she mentioned how doing this is making it hard for her to heal, and she didn't understand if we were seeing each other, why we weren't trying, and why we hadn't done divorce paperwork yet, something that had been brought up a couple times. She said she'd be on vacation in a few weeks, and we could do them then. So after this, I printed them out. I did sit on them for a couple of weeks. It's something I knew needed to be done, but it was just hard. I started changing how we did the animal time slightly, and 2 weeks prior to the proposed time to file, I let her know I had printed them so we could do it. She was upset. It was hard for me too. About a week before filing, I met someone, and she knew that same week that I had hung out with someone new. We filed paperwork the week she proposed. I continued to see this person a couple more times that month. She requested our animals not be around this person, which I didn't think was reasonable, but I respected it and told her that I'd expect her to take care of them if I needed her to, mostly just on the weekend. I started dating this person about a month after filing paperwork and continued seeing them every weekend. They lived an hour away. One of the animals developed cancer, and with my ex's job being remote, she could drive him to get treatment every 2 to 3 weeks, so she would have our animals more often. I wanted them to have equal time between both of us anyway, as we were no longer spending time together with them. All summer, she started begging me to get back together with her. It intensified after I started dating this new person. The first scheduled divorce hearing got messed up and pushed back to this month, and everything has intensified. Emotions and all. She wants to get back together, saying I'm picking a new girl over her and making legal threats, threatening to go after the new girl's business. I know she was just lashing out and wouldn't do it because she's a good person, but I know she's hurt. She believes I misled her the whole time by spending time with her. I argue I was always clear when she brought up being together that I didn't think we should. We even had multiple conversations about the animal situation whenever we started dating someone over the time we were separated. The final divorce hearing is this week, and she's mentally not well, and has said hurtful things and just overall hurting, and I feel terrible. I know in hindsight we shouldn't have been around each other the whole time, but my intentions were to keep us good and to be friends. She's threatening to never speak to me again if I go through with the divorce. She says she won't keep the animals away from me, but I'll have to find another way to see them without communicating with her. She's completely not acting like herself. I'm not saying this to be negative about her, it's out of worry. I just don't know what to do. I thought we were healing and understood where things stood. I didn't hide my seeing someone else when I started. I'm looking for advice, or if you've been through anything similar to what you did. I tried to convey both sides in this. I know I'm not blameless. I care about my ex very much and don't want to cause her pain, but am I not supposed to move on? It was almost a year and a half separated before I even started trying to meet new people. Edit. I think typing this out late at night, I wasn't very clear in some areas. I'm not asking if I should go back to her. I don't think that would be a good idea. I'm having a hard time seeing her destroyed knowing my actions are the cause. After how long we were together, I was hopeful we could be on good terms. It's just some of the things she says to me that get to me, such as how I'm choosing a girl I've known for 5 minutes over 13 years, etc. I don't see it as that. From my point of view, we were ended. If I had actively been trying to fix things with her and then started dating, if I understood. Anyways, just wanted to clarify. Now for some comments. Commenter 1. Keep going with the divorce. She is angry you have met someone and are happy. She doesn't want you, but doesn't want anyone else to have you either. Commenter 2. This sounds a lot like my ex. She actively worked to try and break up my wife and I early in our relationship. OP. Continue with your happy life and let her figure her own crap out. That's the beauty of divorce. Her happiness is not your problem. Last commenter. This. My boyfriend's ex-wife did something, somewhat, similar. She went off the deep end after she found out he moved on and was blatantly a vindictive ass every chance she could get. If he didn't respond to a message right away, she'd lash out because she assumed he wasn't responding because he was having sex with me. If he admitted to having spent time with me, she'd lash out. There was even a point where she straight up said, It just upsets me that you cared when I had. Insert a fair partner's name here. You have a couple of dates and all of a sudden you don't care. I was trying to be respectful, but if you don't care, screw it. I have no reason to be respectful towards you. This was all during a time when she was trying to suck him in by inviting him to concerts and offering to have sex with him if he and I break up. And she wasn't getting the reaction she wanted out of him. She was hoping he'd chase after her, and it took a long time for her to stop trying desperately to make him jealous over whatever guy she's having sex with. And OP, this entire post is exactly why it's so important to set firm boundaries. She had her chance, and she decided she didn't want to make it work. If she's struggling now that you're with someone else, that's on her. Not your place to make her feel better. She needs to sort through her own crap.